Morning, everybody. I'd like to hold hearing on the proposed Wright County property tax levy for the year ending June 30th, 2026. I'll open it up for public comments. Anyone from the public want to comment on it?
I'm assuming there'll be questions concerning what we received in the mail. Yes. Well, I guess I can start with my simple explanation of it. This is required by House File 782 2 years ago that this be sent out to the public. ISAC and all of the affiliates, the supervisors, the auditors, everyone has been against the information that was sent out. I think it was generated through the Department of Management, if what I've read is correct. But what I can tell you, if you live in the city of Clarion, is that, on the front page, the school is lowering their levy rate by 43 cents. The county is lowering their levy rate by almost 21 cents. And the city of Clarion is lowering their levy rate by 29 cents. I find no other useful information on this. And I would defer to my auditor to give a better explanation.
It's very confusing for all of you guys, so I think the front page is mainly what you want to look at. The back page is just examples, and I think that's what's confusing people. I've had a few phone calls and emails about the back page, thinking that their valuations have gone up based on the information from 100,000 to 110,000, but I think it's very confusing.
Yeah,
for you guys.
so in simplest term, if valuations remain the same and levy rates go down, your taxes that you pay in should go down. Then you have to look at
Assessment notices.
the assessment notice, which tells you whether or not whether or not your valuation increased or remained the same.
From last year.
From last year,
Yes,
that's
you're
correct.
not the ones that you guys just got in the mail,
Right.
the ones that came out last April.
Okay.
So don't look at the one, it's very confusing. No, that will be for next year. So you're looking at your 2024 valuations
Yeah, essentially, you have to
Assessments.
put this one in the file cabinet
with what you
With
got.
for next year to compare.
Yes,
You basically pay your taxes a year and a half behind your assessment.
Well, that's right.
Okay.
So if they're looking at
Absolutely.
they should look at it
24, yes.
Correct.
Well,
From 23 to 24 for that matter.
I was assuming my property taxes are gonna go up. This last column here, 11.45%.
And are you looking at one of
This
this?
is 2024.
Okay,
And they went up approximately 80%.
yeah, and that is not a percentage, that is the actual levy rate. So per $1,000 of valuation, you would pay, according to that, $11.45 per $1,000 of valuation.
But it went up like 80% last year.
The valuation did, or the amount of taxes that you paid? By how much?
80%.
What is your name?
Mike Tinger.
See our assessor looking up the.
Oh, she's working. Okay. She's probably faster at it than when I would be.
Yes.
Thank you.
That has to do with classification, that your, property value was raised. So that would be the only reason for that. That was like a 1 year thing.
So he went from like ag to res or res
Yeah.
to ag,
Ag to res.
ag to
Well, I
residential.
was just wondering because, I was like, I can't take another 80% hit this year. Because Social Security don't pay that much. And, the raise that we got in January, 2.5%, insurance is, property insurance is already taking care of that raise.
Yeah.
On Social Security.
Yeah.
More than that, I bet.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. And that's like, now what do you do?
Right,
You know, start walking ditches and picking up cans or something, or what?
but just so that you understand, the reason that you saw that increase was because previously that parcel, the particular parcel was classified under agriculture, correct? And now it is classified under residential.
So it should not be another 80% increase
Right.
again.
Yeah. And what would change, what would be a reason why you would go from ag to residential?
Reviewing properties every year
Okay,
or what the primary use of that property is.
okay.
Yeah, I'm not farming or anything, but there is a barn and stuff out there, but I'm not doing anything with it.
Right.
Well, the boss let me off. Why did be here? You know, Mark sat on a subcommittee dealing with this statement. And out of the three people, they all said, this is very confusing. We don't like it. We need to change it. So they're working on it, maybe not fast enough. But one of the representatives brought an example from, because she borders Minnesota. She said, the Minnesota statements are better. Now, we don't like always to do everything that Minnesota does, but their statement was much clearer. And so they're looking and they're hopefully gonna figure it out before next year. At least we'll be done.
I would agree 100% with you. I'm hoping that the legislators are talking to the auditors and the affiliate of auditors through ISAC. Because those offices and the assessor, those offices are the ones where the rubber meets the road. The people come in and are standing in front of them going, explain this to me
Right.
as I can, so.
And I don't know where it came from. It was prior to this time, I believe it was, they had it in works before he came in and
Okay.
voted on it. So, yeah, anyway, just know that.
Good.
That's good.
Good.
Not to mention, that's a huge cost.
Yeah.
Exactly.
mail
We
all
heard
those
that
out.
from the offices
Yeah,
last year. and-
yeah,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous, just to confuse people.
So, do we wanna discuss this? I mean, we've heard, are there any other comments?
I have a question
Yeah.
that isn't really about this.
Huh?
I was in the neighboring county supervisors meeting because of this and that county. And one of their supervisors said that in their county, the hog confinements cost more than what they bring in. So the taxes that they pay does not cover the damage to the roads. Do you feel that way in Wright County?
I do, yes.
I would ask my
Yes,
engineer.
Yes.
you're exactly right.
Okay,
That statement is correct.
so they're losing us money, costing us money.
Cost.
Mhm.
And in that county, they had wind generators, so that saved them, according to what they said at the meeting.
Mhm. Yeah, we had talked about that too, because there are, you know, when you start talking about Iowa Selects and the Prestige, and where they're more of a corporate, they're not a family, I don't consider them a family farm. But they meet the matrix, they meet the ag, and so that's where they are still considered ag, raising livestock, and so it's.
And that being said, they get the cheaper taxes.
Yeah.
It's not like my business that gets taxed full rate.
And Tony, is that also, is it because they're on a 40-acre parcel, it's not a standalone just building facility? It's because it's on, within that 40-acre parcel?
A lot of them are considered ag, so, I mean, I've been told many times, why are they commercial?
Mhm.
But everywhere they're considered ag, so, yeah, even on a standalone, they're minimal
considered,
value.
okay.
They're one paid a year or two ago, 500,000 for the property that I have 50,000 on, and there's nothing I can do because it's ag. So, unless the state switches them,
Mm-hmm.
What is the amount of acres by the state code for having A?
there isn't. There is no, it's very gray,
There
The
did
state-
used to be years and years
I
ago.
thought it was 10
It
acres.
was 10 years ago.
we can't go off of that anymore.
Yeah, that's not a thing anymore.
What would you recommend?
Put them as commercial. It's a commercial industry.
That would be the nice thing, but like she said.
It'd have to be the entire state doing that, all
Correct.
at once,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not just
That would
my
have to
county
be
here.
And I think that you would have to be able to carve out those, for lack of a better term, family farms that actually are in swine production. I mean, they shouldn't be treated the same as a commercial operation, like, I'll give it names, I guess.
So if I had 10 confinements, would I be considered a family farm or commercial operation?
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
There's your issue with that. That's, I mean, I don't think you can differentiate between family farm unless you say a head count of animals.
Right.
Okay, if you say a head count, hey, 100, whatever, that's a family farm. But if I have 10 and you're still considering, cause I'm just this
Right,
family farm in Wright County, but I have 10 hog confinements, cause they make me a lot of money. Am I a commercial industry or my family farm?
good point,
When
And
they,
very good point.
Ag is just too big for the state to do anything with it, like the new bill where they wanna get rid of the rollback for residential and commercial.
Yeah, it's like,
They don't wanna, they won't touch ag, so ag would still get the rollback. So,
the lobbyists are working hard.
yeah,
Mhm.
they're not getting very far with that. because
And
it's ag.
years ago, when the master matrix came out, which was probably back in what, 2005, 2004. The legislator at that time said, well, what should that number be? Is it 2,500? And so a local person will keep it at 2,499. Where's that magic number to say, this is a corporate, this is a local? And, because whatever number you set, somebody's going to be, is gonna skew it. So each building, a corporate farm building would put 2,499 pigs in there so that they're a local, so it's,
They would just keep moving.
mhm.
Numbers.
But in reality, they were running 3 sessions of 2,500 pigs through there,
Yeah.
7,500 pigs, not just 2,500.
Right.
Who's involved in accounts?
Well, that's how they get around the matrix.
Okay, so can we get on to this document, which is,
The public notice.
yes,
So that was the public notice that was put in the newspapers, back to calling for this meeting today. And so that's what the citizens seen for the public notice.
are there any questions concerning that or comment? Written comments concerning.
Nope.
Yes. I would motion to close the public hearing for, Wright County property tax levy. Proposed Wright County property tax levy.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Uh,
All aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Ashley. I need a motion to adjourn out of this.
I was, motion to adjourn from the, proposed Wright County property tax levy portion of the meeting.
Have a second, all in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
All ayes? Thank you. Now we will convene as drainage trustees.
thank you. Area code 515-332-1571, can you identify yourself?
That'd be Humboldt County,
Oh, it is?
I'm pretty sure, but they're
Okay.
supposed to be on at 9:15.
Okay.
What it's called?
Probably.
That is not,
It's the auditor's office.
okay. Thank you.
This is Humboldt County. Can you hear us?
You bet, we sure can. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we have Bruce Reimers, Sandy Loney, Bob Rasmussen, Mike Carpenter, and we have Rick Peterson on phone. And we're here for the memorandum of understanding between Humboldt and Wright County.
And we have Dean Clues, Rick Rasmussen, Lynn Loops, and Betty Ellis, and Ashley Bosch is on Zoom from Wright County, and numerous people in the outskirts too.
Okay.
There were no questions.
Okay, so
on
we're-
Whoops, excuse me. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, so we've got the memorandum of understanding at 15,000, which would make it so that we would be okay to approve up to 15,000 on each side for the joint drainage districts. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
No questions from Wright County's side.
I
No
just think
question.
that
The only question
this
I
will
have
make
is,
Go
Rick,
ahead.
will there be notification that something's done or in the process, or how is that gonna work?
Absolutely, I think Bruce, between the two drainage administrators, I think there will definitely be correspondence concerning that.
Well, that's my question, is as long as both sides know that something's going on, then I'm good with that, so.
What I understand is that we would still give work orders and we would pass those to the
Perfect.
different county, and then we would all be in line with knowing what's happening.
Yes, just so we keep good documentation of what is going on out there.
Exactly.
Documentation and pictures.
With no questions, Clues from Wright County will make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between Humboldt County and Wright County concerning joint drainage districts.
Mike Carpenter will second that.
Wright County, all in favor, Wright County,
Aye.
all ayes in Wright
Humboldt
County.
Humboldt County, all in favor?
Aye.
Right, our Humboldt County is all in favor, Rick?
Okay, thank you. Anything else before us?
That's all we have, I believe.
Sounds good, thank
That's
you.
it. Thank
Thank you.
That was easy.
Okay, drainage claims.
I have no drainage claims for you. No, minutes from the last meeting, since it was just the minutes from the prior meeting. And no invoices. All I have for you is a single work order. This is for DD 136 in section 1 of Lake Township. This is, Dean, you have the original.
Correct.
Jacob Weiss was in here, if you recall, he came in during the DD 36
Yep.
discussion and was talking about behind his building there. As we looked it up on the map, there is a tile line that goes directly through the area he's talking about, so since it's holding water there, my guess is it's possibly plugged or something like that, so I told him, I said, let's start with putting in a work order to, have it televised, see if we can see what's going on exactly, before we get, moving on too far ahead. So that's what this work order is for, is to televise the tile for a possible plug, that the land is not draining, and he did request Henniger's on that, as we know, Henniger's have the camera, so.
So, my only question is, it looks like we're going upstream, behind the DOT. Is that because there's an intake further upstream and we're gonna use that for access for the camera? Or if he's holding water, it would seem to me that we would go downstream if we were.
So he stated that behind his place, there is an intake area.
Okay,
So I'm hoping that we can access there.
good.
Farther down a little bit, there is,
Towards the ditch, drainage ditch.
sorry, to the east.
To the
Okay.
east, that's where lateral A.
Yes,
joins
lateral
in.
A connects.
Yeah.
But the area that we're looking at that does retain all the water is shown there in the rectangle, which is the area behind his property and all the way over behind the DOT property would be the section that we would be interested in
Okay,
televising.
Okay.
And that does flow to the west, going over and dumping in.
okay. When I looked at this on the map, it looks like that goes all the way across the south side of the city, but at some point, one of them must go to the east. At some point, it must flow to the east out to the White Fox, and the other. And then west of that high point, I assume, goes out to the drainage ditch.
Yeah, there's a couple laterals in here, or not laterals, tiles that are in here. This one specifically, I believe, is the one that connects over to the west and connects into the DD 36.
Okay.
But when we were looking at DD 36, this DD 136 was not part of that classification or paid an outlet fee or anything like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Alright. Very good. I'm good with, the idea of televising it and,
I think it's been swampy there for years.
yeah,
So
when
it's-
Bruce owned it, why it was, always seemed like it was a wet area back there.
Anything else before the board for drainage?
That is it. Yep.
Motion to adjourn as drainage trustees.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All ayes. Now we'll convene as Board of Supervisors. We need approval of the tentative agenda.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All ayes. Amanda, would you read the minutes of the last meeting, please?
March 31st, 2025, the Board of Supervisors met as Drainage District Trustees. To view the minutes of the drainage meeting, see the Drainage District minutes on the county website. Chairman Rasmussen called the regular meeting of the Wright County Board of Supervisors to order at 9:04 a.m. Members present were Cluse, Bosch, Rasmussen, Lukes, and Ellis. Motion by Cluse and second by Bosch to approve the tentative agenda with the removal of item 11B to consider reducing setback distance for seismic testing. Motion carries. Minutes of the previous regular meeting of March 24th, 2025 were read and approved claims for payment. Motion by Cluse, second by Ellis to approve the retirement agreement for Colleen Meyer, Wright County Communications Director. Motion by Cluse, second by Lukes to approve the quote for a spare pump head for the chlorine pumps at the Agar Business Park. Motion carries. Motion by Cluse, second by Bosch to approve resolution 2025-15 awarding contract for, I should say for project STP SCO 99107, 5E-99 to Heartland Asphalt of Mason City in the amount of $2,874,239.78. By roll call vote, ayes, Clues, Bosch, Rasmussen, Lukes, and Ellis, nays none, resolution 2025-15 duly passes and moves as follows. There. Motion by Clues and second by Bosch to table resolution 2025-16, awarding contract for project BROS C099105 5F 99 until Monday, April 7, 2025. Motion carries. Motion by Clues, second by Bosch to approve the federal aid agreement for project BROS CO99108 8J 99. Motion carries. Adam Clemens, Wright County Engineer, gave an update on the secondary roads department. Tony Nicholas, Wright County Assessor, presented the annual SLU bill applications for allow or disallow. There were 305 applications consuming over 2,800 acres. Motion by Ellis, second by Clues to approve the SLU bill applications as presented to be signed by the Board of Supervisors Chairman. Motion carries. Under old business, Supervisor Ellis explained that Buildings and Grounds Director Andy Yackel approached her regarding unused ARPA funds. He believes there is approximately $26,000 left. He said he does have projects he can use those funds on. Under new business, Supervisor Ellis asked the handbook committee if a supervisor could sit in on the meeting. Supervisor Lukes will attend the next meeting. Motion by Rasmussen, second by Clues to adjourn the meeting. Motion carries.
Any additions or corrections?
That one should say 4 projects.
Okay, when you,
Motion to approve is corrected.
okay. We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
ayes. And just let me know when you got that down and I'll re-sign it.
Thank you.
Claims have been around. Anyone from the public like to speak? Okay. Review and act on union contract for sheriff, deputies, and jailers.
So, this is the union contract that was, negotiated in October, I believe it was.
Mhm.
And we are just receiving it. It will take effect on July 1st of 2025. Yes, I've read through it. I have. Go
Biggest
ahead.
change was their, what are they?
Post-retirement health insurance program
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
biggest change in addition to it. And, they'll still participate, after post-retirement. They will still, participate in Plan 11C. There is a nationwide trust plan for the group where the monies can be placed into another group insurance. I believe Mike Galloway will work with the auditor's office at that time when an employee, we looked up to see where does the employees lie, who's ready for retirement, who can retire. And it possibly one could have it, but I don't think
And
that.
that's not happening for several years.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. So, and this is a 3-year contract?
Till 2020. Hold on.
Usually it's like on the first page, but okay.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Shall be in effect from July 1st, 2025 and remain in force until June 30th of 2029. It's a 4-year.
4-year contract. And I see there's no place, do we need a signature on this? There's no place for a signature.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's,
What page is that on?
Right after the Article 13.
would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 6, page 6. Anyway, so they will still get to use the side fund. And, the reference to Appendix B, which we talked about earlier with the health insurance, does not really apply, so there is no, throughout the contract, doesn't talk about Appendix B. However, our HR attorney would like to keep it in there, so.
And appendix B essentially is just the current health plan and different levels, deductibles that are available to the county employees.
So I need to get with Jason on getting this signed with the union rep.
Correct, I think the union rep, and I'm surprised Jason's not here, I think has signed it already.
So they might have a
So-
signed copy somewhere.
We don't have a signed copy.
Okay,
I only got an email on Friday.
Okay, I'll get with Jason after the meeting, give him a call,
okay,
see where and what.
got it.
Motion to approve the union contract for the sheriff's deputies and jailers, effective July 1st of 2025 and then through June 30th of 2029.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all ayes. Okay, review the monthly revenue report from Wright County Sheriff for March. County car service fees and mileage.
Hey, Rick.
um,
Hey, Rick.
What?
You have a 9:30 agenda item.
Fine, thanks, Ashley. Angela, you are up. Angela Westlink, Parent Connections to proclaim April as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Wright County. Thank you.
Sure, let me comment with you, and thank you, Ashley, for, letting me.
Well, we're telling me that, hey, you got a 9:30.
So I'm Angela Westlake, I'm part of Parent Connection, or I am the Parent Connection, part of Building Families in Wright County Public Health. And we do child abuse prevention. It's cheaper to raise a healthy child than to fix a broken adult, and that's our goal. And April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and so I would like the Wright County Board of Supervisors to proclaim that. Would you like me to read the proclamation?
Sure.
Okay, okay. So whereas children are our nation's most valuable members, as well as our nation's most valuable resources, helping to shape the future of Iowa. And whereas positive childhood experiences like loving caregivers and a safe, stable, and nurturing relationships can help mitigate trauma and the negative impact of adverse childhood experiences to promote the social, emotional, and developmental well-being of children. And whereas childhood trauma can have a long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects through an individual's lifetime and impact the future generations of their family. And whereas childhood trauma, including abuse and neglect, is a serious problem affecting every community in the U.S., and finding solutions require input and action from everyone. And whereas children who live in families with access to concrete economic and social supports are less likely to experience abuse and neglect. And whereas prevention is possible because of the partnerships created between families, prevention advocates, child welfare professionals, educational, health, community, and faith-based organization, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and local, state, and national governments. And whereas we acknowledge that in order to solve the public health issue of abuse and neglect, we must work together to change hearts and mindsets through the storytelling and sharing, center the needs of families, break down bias and barriers, and inspire action from expected and unexpected partners and in prevention. And whereas we are committed to advancing equitable, responsive, and effective systems that ensure all children and families are healthy and thriving. And whereas we recognize the need to prioritize kids and invest in more prevention initiatives like home visiting, family strengthening policies, economic supports, and community-based child abuse prevention programs at the national, state, and local levels. And now, therefore, you, the Wright County Board of Supervisors, do hereby proclaim April as National Child Abuse Prevention Month in Wright County and urge all citizens to recognize this month by building a narrative of hope for children and families through collaboration and the creation of an ecosystem of primary prevention that does not currently exist in this country.
Did you say April or May?
April.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah, no, I heard April, but I was like, oh, okay.
No, very well messed it up there.
Yeah.
Motion to proclaim, April as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Wright County.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All ayes? Thank you.
Thanks, Angela.
I get a signature.
Yes.
It's exact same.
Thank you for bringing that to us.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angela.
Okay. Received the monthly revenue report from Wright County Sheriff for March. County car service fees and mileage, $1,701.17. County new and renewal weapons permits, $300. Copy fees, $120. A total of $2,121.17.
I'll make a motion to receive the quarterly revenue report from the sheriff.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes?
I should say quarterly, be March, monthly, that one's the monthly,
Yeah,
sorry,
that's okay. Thank you.
my correction.
Okay, received the quarterly revenue report from the Wright County Auditor. He has, $6 in copies, $1,310 in plat books and maps. That's quite a few. New one. Fireworks permit 0 and voter registration list 0, total of 1316. I will make a motion to approve that.
I guess second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Steady.
Okay.
All
sorry.
ayes.
Sorry, I was writing, I was like,
Thank you. Set the Wright County budget hearing for fiscal year 2025-2026.
The date that would be acceptable for publication would be April 28th.
we have a special time. At the time it's on. We do it at 9:15.
Or 9:30.
So April, what'd you say, 28th?
28.
April 28th at 9:30.
I will make the motion to hold the budget hearing April 28th at 9:30 a.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all ayes, thank you. Consider rescinding motion of communications director, new full-time hire from March 24th, 25 meeting.
Okay, I'd just like to say, this has nothing to do with the individual, it's the wordage in, cost of living. I don't think we're being very transparent in that statement. You know, in the last 4 years, our federal government has created more inflation. I don't know if we could even cover the cost of living. We have other things that, you know, House File 718 has changed things for us and, you know, in changing our levy rates. I was talking to one of the other supervisors at ISAC, and they said, you know, for next year, they actually had a salary freeze. So, things change and, you know, we can't always say, you know, cost of living. So as supervisors, you know, yearly we review the salaries and then, make a salary adjustment, what goes into effect on July 1st. As the supervisor feel is fiscally responsible. So I guess what I'm saying is, the communications director, new full-time position, should state the same, with the only change is cost of living to say, salary adjustment.
So remove cost of living from the contract, the statement cost of living, and replace it with
Salary adjustments.
salary adjustments.
Is that your motion then?
That would be my motion.
So you're actually rescinding the first one, and the next item is your motion to do it. So you need a motion to rescind your motion previously,
Yes.
and then your next item is a motion for what you want to
So
say.
that was my explanation for rescinding. So I make a motion to rescind, the communication director full-time position.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All ayes. Then you need a motion for your,
How you want to work.
how you want to work.
I'd make a motion to, for the communication director, full-time hire. Just state, do you have that copy? I can say the salary and
Something like and eligible for cost of living adjustment.
there's more than.
Not the 20.
I know we did change it though.
We removed
Yeah.
cost of living adjustment, was my understanding.
State the contract. I believe the contract states, her salary with a 50% raise after 6 months and another 50 cents at 1 year. And with a salary adjustment
Set by the supervisors.
set by the supervisors on July 1st.
Second that.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Patty?
Aye. Yeah.
All ayes.
Still reading, yeah.
Thank you. Act on communications, new full-time hire.
We just did.
Oh, I'm sorry. Adam,
First item on the agenda is the resolution for the awarding contract for project BROS CO 99, parent 105-5F-99. We had a bid letting down at the Iowa DOT. This is Bridge 116 north of Rowan on Victor Avenue. We received 7 bids for this project. It is a bridge to box culvert.
And I believe that the only reason that we're seeing this today from last week was because it had
HMA paving with millings.
Yeah.
That was typo. It should say precast RCB culvert.
motion to approve resolution 2025-16, awarding the contract for project BROS C CO 99, parentheses 105, 5F-99.
I'll second. Betty, how do you vote?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Ashley?
Aye.
Dean?
Aye.
Aye. All ayes?
So that award for contract is to Peterson Contractors in the amount of $186,029.75. Next item on the agenda is your consider FY 26 secondary road 5-year program. So that is your packet that has your map with it. Okay, so the map is the 5-year program and the locations of all the projects that we'll be going through here. In federal fiscal year FY 26, we have 2 projects, the C-25 and R-45 around the lake. So we're gonna be repaving that, probably a mill and fill, just like we were doing with CPT-4. We're estimating 2.25 million on that project. That's gonna be spent with FM dollars, so not region money, but FM dollars that come from road use tax.
On that portion that goes,
South.
no, it actually goes east at the south end of the lake. Is that already widened for bike path, or will it be widened?
So R-45 from Highway 3 to 185th Street is widened. We are gonna widen it from on 185th Street around the lake or to the trail.
Excellent.
The trail beginning. So
Right.
it's only another quarter mile.
Okay.
That will widen it.
Good.
Just to have a shared road. So for that portion. Next one is Bridge 175, the 4-corner bridge. We currently have a double box culvert going in, but you approved a federal aid agreement. There was 900,000 last week for possibly putting in a triple box culvert. So as we go through the design process, we have the ability to put it in that triple, just in case. So we'll go to the next. This is, sorry, go ahead.
And the paving was both of those projects will, no.
They'll be let in January, February of 26.
So it won't be done until.
26 summer.
Gotcha.
Okay. Then we have FY 27, which is your kind of light blue. We have our local bridge, Bridge 52, which is east of Galt. We estimate a $300,000 project on that. This is going to, we think it's big enough that it won't be able to be a box culvert, but there's new standards coming out for bridges that are going to be smaller, 30, 40, 50, 60 foot, single slab bridges. I've sat on that TAC for the design of those standards for the DOT. So we'll be able to use those standards for that bridge and hopefully have a smaller structure in there, but it won't be able to be, it won't have to be a large minimum standard bridge, which is 70 feet. So we're looking at some of these costs in here, so.
But that one's the one south of Galt, isn't it, or no?
East of
It
Galt,
is,
straight east, 52.
The one south we
on
did,
Union Avenue? Yeah,
Yeah, right there.
I'm just trying to visualize that, though.
I can bring up the map afterwards if you want to.
Okay, no, that's fine.
And then we have Bridge 155A, which is north of Belmont. This one's gonna be a special project for Jeremy and Marcus to design. This is a bridge on a curve. So there will be a horizontal curve in this bridge. It's currently like that, but we were estimating $950,000 for that structure. And then the next bridge is Bridge 109, which is southeast of Belmont off of R65. I think it's on like 160th Street. We're estimating $420,000 for that structure. Next project is County K or R38 South, and this is in FY 28. County K south of Clarion here. We estimate that to be 2.5 million. And that is FM dollars coming from the state or our road use tax. The other project in FY 28 is Bridge 49, which is south of Rowan, kind of in between Rowan and CPD 4. East of Galt, that way. We're estimating that at $420,000. Next project moves us to the next year, FY 29, is a local Bridge 173, which is up in Norway Township. We estimate that that'd be your orange dot that you have up there at $540,000. And then the next project we have is our Bridge 124, which is on the Lake Blacktop east of Lake Cornelia. And we're estimating that at 2.1 million. Be a very large bridge. Very big bridge.
And so
That
since
is over the
we're,
island.
since we're repaving, then will they just, when they do the bridge, they'll bring it up to the level?
We actually, so when we pave, we bring it down to the level of the bridge.
Okay,
And then we'll pull back with a new approach.
okay,
So we'll match it.
all right.
Yep. And then we have a shared project with Franklin County. So it says 500,000 in FY 30, but it'll actually be as per our agreement with Franklin County on the county line, southeast corner of the county. It'll only be 250,000 because we share 50% responsibility on that. So that'll be nice to have that done. And then we have our R27 paving project southeast of Eagle Grove for 2.4 million, 7.9 miles. Our region, we possibly have, next year when we go to apply for money at the, region money, we're looking at, applying for dollars for either County K North or the CPD 4 to Dow's and then all the way down R75 to the county line. So both of those are, in our minds, which one we need to, possibly apply for and how much money we have and how much the project will cost.
So, when you track these, like in 5 years, how much does the projects that we're looking at next year, when they were on our 5-year plan 5 years ago, has the cost increased?
Yes,
Substantially?
yes, yeah, and we've had to put that in there to figure out where we're going with it. But we've also seen a little bit of a revenue increase in our VR money, so it makes us, has the ability to do a lot more with our bridge. And we've gotten the grants, the city VR grant last year for the Woolstock Bridge, and then the federal raise grant for the Boss Bridge. So that freed up a lot of our VR money to spend on other bridges.
Okay.
So you see, and like I said, some of them we can't go to that box culvert or double box culvert, or even triple box culvert. One is because the idea of that we have to pay mitigation, stream mitigation. That we've gotten local one that we're trying to work with here in Wright County that we might start buying into. But it is, we've seen money go outside the county for this and it's not benefiting the county. So we're trying to maybe stay more with the smaller structured bridge. Those new bridge standards that are coming out, we're gonna utilize those probably a lot more.
So if we could get a mitigation bank in Wright County, then would we have control of that, or the state still controls that?
Think,
You know, Eric?
mitigation bank for stream loss?
As far as.
If we had one in here,
Who
the state,
controls it?
who controls it?
Yeah, would we get to utilize that for stream bank mitigation, or the state?
So it would have to be a stream bank mitigation area.
Yeah.
That are strict, I mean, you can have both. You can have a stream that they're re-meandering,
Oh,
and that would qualify for mitigation bank. But you can't just take a stream bank mitigation credit and apply it to a wetland credit. They're not the same.
okay.
Your last page is kind of a total of what dollar amounts are being spent in each year for specific types of money. So FA is federal aid, FM is farm to market, local is local tax dollars, and then SWAP is a kind of our BR money that it's in a different account for, that we just have to account for down at the DOT. Any questions?
The FA was what one?
Federal aid.
Motion to approve secondary roads or 5-year program.
Second.
I guess, I
All
was
in
gonna second,
favor?
but you can have it. Aye.
Aye, all ayes.
You have a copy that's signed?
Yeah, what all, I got a bunch of crap up here for you.
I don't need it. I'll get it from the auditor's office. They'll scan and send it to me. That's why we send it to them.
You wanna
specifically.
wait,
I'm getting used to this new process, so.
you wanna wait, and, cause Ashley's gotta sign this till she come in and sign it, that'd be all right?
Which one? The resolution?
Yeah,
That's fine, yeah. So,
I'll pass this one.
actually, it doesn't, no, it doesn't need to, because you approved it. And she doesn't, she's just not here, doesn't have her signature. She can sign it right there, so. But I need to get it, so, because I need to execute that contract.
Not a problem.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, you ready, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Okay, is the secondary roads Iowa DOT budget. So every year we have to do our local budget, and then we have to do an Iowa DOT budget. But what I do is I keep the budget the same, so when we spend money, we're not trying to calculate if we have money left over on this DOT side versus the local side. So you'll see these numbers are exactly the same as what I presented to you in the local budget. So we have, a county auditor beginning balance of 1.2 million estimated. Receipts from tax dollars, property tax dollars, 2.422 million. There is on that, there was no general basic. Remember we discussed that of you guys keeping the general basic. So it just comes from rural services. Road use tax received about 3.8 million, 3.75. We get TJ money. So for roads that are next to some of these, routes that go into 500 or less population cities, we get money for their FM, their TJ money. So 7,000, not very much, but $7,000. Time 21 money is license fees, essentially. That came out a long time ago. Once that time 21 is fulfilled down at the state, then it switches back to the road use tax formula. It's just a different formula. So we get about 420,000 in time 21 funds. We have an 8J project for the next year, so we have to apply for bridge reimbursement funds to go get that. So we'll be applying for those funds, but we spend them first, and then we have total miscellaneous receipts on line 9 of 113,000. So that includes reimbursement for hydroseeder if we go through that, reimbursement for planning and zoning, entrance permits and trip permits. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Total receipts of 8.8 million.
So on the time 21 funds, is that forever, or why is it labeled time 21? It expires.
It's the name of it. No, it was the name of the bill.
Okay, and so that's decreasing. Do you see that continuing to decrease, or?
It just really depends on vehicle licensing. If people buy more license and buy more vehicles, it could increase. We've seen it go from 423 to 420 to 419. I'm hoping that, obviously we get around that dollar amount, but I would rather see the road use tax formula utilized rather than time 21. Because we get more dollars from the road use tax formula.
So does the time 21 legislation, does that expire at some, no, okay.
Next page is our expenditures. We have engineering administration, 854,000. Construction, 965,000. So part of that will be getting our $850,000 back for that project. Roadway maintenance, which includes bridges, roads, snow, traffic control, and road clearing of 3.3 million. General roadway expenditure, which is new equipment, equipment operations, tools, material supplies, and real estate, 3.4455 million, for a total expenditure of 8.588 million, with a estimated auditor's balance of 265,000. And obviously you see the history of our ending fund balance. Certain things don't happen when we have a fiscal year end right in the middle of the year when we're in the middle of construction. And so certain things can be spent in one year or the other, so we've got to track that.
We shouldn't panic, is what you're.
No,
Okay.
no. We'll watch it. I watch it very closely.
Need a motion to approve?
Yep, so moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All ayes.
Is that just Rick's signature, is that all?
That'll be, yeah, that'll be in Rick's, just Rick's, and then I'll need the auditor and then I'll sign it too and I'll get him back to him. So, next item on the agenda is I wanted to bring up and talk about again, the discuss and consider alternate seismic testing, monitoring and setback distance. So, a few weeks back, or maybe a month and a half ago, we did a live testing for that. We had, our external engineer come in, that was paid for by the seismic testing company, but we chose as engineers, this company that we're very familiar with, Alan Butsky. They had come back with a report they, made with us, of a risk analysis of the, seismic testing, that how close to tile and structures that, the seismic testing can get, and where we should be at in, the peak particle, as they say it, PPV, which is peak particle velocity. So they came back with ABE, Alan Butsky, came back with a 0.5 PPV, and within the 50 feet. So if they get within 50 feet and it raises, that peak particle velocity goes over 0.5, our risk goes up for damage. Now that's just risk. That is not that it will damage the tile. We saw them at this test do it on unconsolidated soil on top of a tile, 7-inch tile that was only 24 inches deep and there was no breaking in. But the issue that we discussed with ADE was that you may not see deformation in the tile specifically. You may see deformation in the soil, which could then bowl the tile, which then would create an issue for the slope and the hydraulics for it.
Okay.
So this is a risk-based analysis that they did for us. Twin Rivers Exploration has come back and said that they will do essentially walk away PPV testing. So they will put a special monitor. They'll have somebody out there at all times, right over where they think the tile is. And as they come up to it, if they start seeing that it's getting closer to the 0.5, they will stop. So. And then, so what we would do is we would have a 50-foot setback distance plus that 0.5 PPV inside I will rewrite the
contract with them.
The road use agreement.
Okay.
So this is up to you. I'm not making a recommendation. I did have Kyle Handy with Twin Rivers Exploration talk with Daryl Stephen about what the possibility of the economic benefit or could happen. I don't know if you have anything to say about that, but
Again, keep in mind that this is exploration right now. There's no guarantees and no assurances. What we're looking for is a resource under the ground. If a resource is determined, then that's when investments will happen and bringing capital investments into the project. That could eventually lead to job creation and obviously a facility to provide the fertilizer for our ag community. Facility of this type, I'm projecting to range between 1.8 and 2.0 million dollars for a facility. Again, all that is subject to whether or not there is a resource in the ground.
Right. But, from what I read, previous seismic testing or previous something has shown that there's a band that goes through Wright County where the hydrogen could be.
we have a very high, they suspect that there is something in the ground under Wright County. And that is why we are the county that has the most miles that they are testing. I can't remember specifically how many miles it was, but we have the most out of the three other county engineers that I've been working with to get this developed, to protect the counties, obviously. We have the highest amount of roadway. So.
And so the downside is, like, there was a phone call, last year, one time from a Webster County residents, because they've done it in Webster County, right? What was their major concern at that time?
Just the idea that there could be damage and when could that damage exist?
Mhm.
That was, I think, the biggest issue that we saw. And that's the risk you're gonna take. There's that risk-based analysis. This isn't like that you sit over a tile and it's gonna break. this is the risk you take.
Mhm.
So, we currently have, we set a road use agreement with them for 250 feet back. They have, thus come back and said they won't be able to do their exploration. If that is the case, you can still leave it at that. We have every right to, they agreed to it, they have a signature on it, I signed it and sent it to them. Okay? They're asking for us to adjust it so that they could possibly do it with other caveats. So we do have a 10-year clawback on in the agreement, that if there is any issues where they, tested, within 10 years, we'll be able to, recoup that funds or recoup our losses, in the, event of something being damaged.
I can see the possibility behind economic development behind this, idea. What I'm not understanding is do we need to be doing this on our public roads? We're not going to have the mineral rights, for if they find something. So other than economic gain through development possibly, but is there a reason that they're not going to individual landowners and getting permission to do it on the land where potentially they would own the mineral rights? They would, I don't even know how you do mineral rights for a gas. I get it for, I guess.
They would probably have an estimated amount that person could hold.
That's
And how much they would have. So with Wright County having like hundreds of miles of what they're trying to test, I surmise that
It's the easiest for them.
yes, there you go.
Get permission from us.
Yeah.
And away they go.
Rather than going to hundreds and possibly, landowners that aren't even here.
Right.
Like I've said in the past, we've had to send, documentation to China to get right-of-way documents signed. That's where the person lived.
To answer your question, Dean, I know of one person that got request to go on private property and got paid to access it.
Okay.
To do seismic testing.
They can do it. They would just, same thing as like the carbon pipeline. They just have to go out and get the signatures from the landowners. So, like I said, I think that we have an agreement in place
At 250
feet
from any of our structures, right?
any of our structures.
Okay.
If we would like to leave it there, just fine.
Okay.
I'm not telling you one way or the other. It is risk that you could take. Now, if you think about the risk that comes to us, right? We have a broken tile, right? But what has happened normally when a broken tile happens? You have water ponding, correct? Are we gonna lose anything from water ponding?
No.
No,
Individual.
the individual landowner will lose it. I don't know if that individual landowner has repercussions to the company for crop loss.
Okay.
If it's our agreement. That would be something that they would have to probably use the courts to get.
Well, I'll just throw this out there. I guess my thought on it, hearing that is that I don't see why the county should take on that risk. I mean, it seems to me that, that we should go with what the original 250 feet. If you can't do it with that, then go talk to the landowner and proceed that way.
I would agree.
But I'm open to discussion or a different viewpoint for sure.
You said you communicated with other county engineers. What are they doing? Did they do anything different? or-
Essentially the same. Our comfort level with the 50 feet is still not there. And even having a walk along testing, it's, who's doing the testing? Is it somebody you're paying, the company's paying? Or is it somebody that we're hiring? So it's somebody that they would be hiring. So the comfort level is not quite there with the county engineers at this time.
So we're weighing out the liability to the benefits
Right.
at this point.
Yeah.
ducks unless you're gonna be there on site to make sure they don't go.
You don't have the staff for that.
No, and, yeah. Okay. Any more discussion on that?
So,
You don't have to do anything. We have
because
an
we have
agreement
an agreement.
already.
Yeah.
So I will go back to Mr. Handy and say,
I mean, I'm not opposed to them looking, I just don't see a big benefit for the risk for us, so.
or even putting, like you said, putting the private property at risk too,
Right.
where they might not have any repercussions to this
Yeah.
situation. So I get it, I understand. Leave it at that. Next item is the update. Blades Out were putting their winter equipment away, so we painted it up, make sure it doesn't get all rusty so they can use it next year properly. There were spot rock requests out when they're blading. They're doing full mile blading, trying to get down as much as possible. And also we have been out reclaiming the hard surface roads to see if we need to do any shouldering on those hard surface roads. Okay, so we try to bring that up, and then if we need to add more rock, we will eventually. So the trucks were winter weather response on Monday morning, hauled the sand and salt back to Clarion from various locations. So we house it here, we'll put a tarp over anything that's outside of our shed, and then, so we don't have to have multiple tarps. We still have to have an order of salt go in, so we'll have a location to hold that, I think, over in Eagle Grove. So hauling the spot loads, you'll see them start out on the gravel roads, hauling their spot loads that the motor graders are requesting. So when a motor grader requests a spot load, it comes into the road superintendent, and the truck foreman, they assign it to a specific truck driver or building. So they can go out and do that, and then they see it on their phone that they have this spot load to go get. They can hit a button and it'll take them right to the spot load with GPS. So they can't listen. Stockpile shoulder material in the Belmont yard, that's for if we need to do any stock or shouldering on the east side of the county this year. 26 work orders were completed, and then we did complete the removal on Youngblood of that bridge. So, it's my understanding that also late last week, that other work order, for that tile was done. There was also another hole found that they, repaired to and didn't have a work order on it. So we have that completed, and Jeremy and Marcus are doing their asset documentation. Once that's done, we will send the landowner all that information.
I had a phone call concern with, if you'd have the guys check for possible spot rock on 300th between Highway 17 and I'm trying to think of the blacktop that comes south out of Eagle. I call it the Castaway Blacktop.
Yep, cut through.
People, I know that's not identified as a detour, but it is being utilized, I think.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's a detour around there.
Much for frost boils out there, I haven't heard of any.
Not much as of right now. So I know that I've driven out there a couple times on specific where we'll see some side hill seepage where you got some frost boil or a side hill seepage that's coming out, but haven't had too many phone calls on this.
Hey, can you check on 190th Street where they're putting in a pipeline? They may need some rock because they're tearing it up pretty good, and you're gonna have a hard time rocking it because there's all kinds of trucks on the edge of the road.
Okay, we'll double check it.
Just check it out if you would, please.
Yeah, and we may make contact with them and just say, hey, you guys can move your vehicles off the route. Makes our lives a lot easier to try to.
That's west of R38, I think.
Yep.
Is it?
No.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any old business?
Mr. Chair, if I may, the Wright County Comp Plan Committee met last week. We continue to work tonight on getting the document finalized. Wright County Charitable Foundation, the 25 ceremony will be on April 30th. That will be at the Eagle Grove Middle School. There was a total of 53 applications received, 42 of them were funded.
Excellent.
Cool.
It's the 20th year of WCCF.
Doesn't seem like it's been that long since they started that. Thank you, Adam.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Any new business? Update on meetings?
I have an economic development meeting, tomorrow morning at 7. And, that's it for me this week.
Yeah, I have nothing this week.
I've got the handbook meeting that started 15 minutes ago at Secondary Roads office.
That's probably where Adam went.
Yeah.
Let's do adjourn.
Real quick, the Economic Development Commission will be entertaining a replacement for Mr. Fox. That recommendation will come to the board next year.
Anything else before the board? We have a motion to adjourn, if you still wanna do that, Dean.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All in this? Thank you.